My sister has always tried to overshadow me during events close to my heart, and when I found out that she's planning to wear her wedding dress to my wedding, I decided to teach her a lesson once and for all, and now parents are telling me that I went overboard. Hi everyone, I am Natalie, 29 female, and I have a younger sister named Tara, 27 female. We're close in age, but we've never quite hit that tight sibling vibe. Life's thrown us some curveballs that kept us from being the typical inseparable sisters that you see in movies. One biggie, Tara had this knack for stealing the spotlight, and let me tell you, it was a journey. So in high school, I played the lead role in our school play. I was bursting with excitement to share the news with everyone. But just as I was about to spill the beans, Tara told everyone about her new boyfriend. Talk about stealing my thunder. I remember feeling a mix of disappointment and frustration. Here I was, all set to shine on stage, and Tara swoops in with her relationship drama, hugging all the attention. It made me feel like my achievements were constantly being overshadowed by her personal life. Then, fast forward to college acceptance day. I'm over the moon because I got into my dream school. I'm about to share the news with my family, and what happens? Tara manages to hurt herself just getting out of bed and has to be rushed to the emergency room. Don't worry, she was totally fine. But talk about bad timing. At that moment, I felt like my joy was once again overshadowed by something out of my control. It was like no matter what I achieved, something would always come along to steal the spotlight away from me. And with Tara, it seemed to happen more often than not. Then there was a time that I landed my dream job at 25. I was over the moon, bursting at the seams to share the news with my parents. But guess what? Just a few minutes after I spilled the beans, my sister dropped a bombshell. She's engaged. Talk about timing. I remember the sinking feeling in my gut as the focus shifted from my achievement to her engagement. It's not that she got engaged in those few minutes to overshadow me, but man, did it feel like it. Suddenly, all anyone could talk about was her ring, her wedding plans, her happily ever after. And me, well, it felt like I was left in the shadows, my dream job forgotten in the excitement of her news. It stung, you know. It made me feel like my accomplishments didn't matter as much as hers, like I was always playing second fiddle in the family spotlight. And that wasn't the only time. Oh no. My sister has a knack for stealing my thunder, no matter how hard I try to shine. I can't help but wonder if my sister's overshadowing antics were intentional or just one big coincidence. I mean, sure, once or twice could be chalked up to bad timing, but when it happens time and time again, you start to question things, right? It's like, okay, maybe she didn't plan to announce her engagement right after I shared my big career news, and maybe she didn't orchestrate hurting herself just as I was about to revel in my college acceptance. But when you add it all up, it's hard not to feel like there's something more going on. I've had my fair share of doubts, believe me. Is she really trying to sabotage my successes by stealing my thunder? It's a pretty wild thought, but the more it happens, the harder it is to brush it off as a mere coincidence. It's like a pattern, and patterns don't usually happen by accident, right? Even Tara's wedding showed just how entitled she is. Now, let me preface this by saying that weddings can bring out the best and the worst in people, and in Tara's case, it was a bit of both. Strap in because we're diving deep into the chaos. So Tara's big day was like a whirlwind of emotions, and not necessarily in a good way. From the moment she got engaged, she transformed into the ultimate bridezilla. I'm talking full-on diva mode, folks. I wasn't asked to be one of her bridesmaids, but I still was there to support her on her special day. Man, did she take things to a whole new level of entitlement. Tara had this vision of the perfect fairy tale wedding, and nothing was going to stand in her way, not even reality. She had a mile-long list of demands, from the venue to the flowers to the menu, and woe betide anyone who dared to question her choices. It was like she had blinders on, only seeing her own vision and completely disregarding anyone else's opinions. And speaking of opinions, Tara wasn't exactly open to feedback. Oh no, she had it all figured out in her head, and she expected everyone else to fall in line. I remember one time when I gently suggested a different flower arrangement for the centerpieces because the flowers she wanted were really expensive. You would have thought I would suggested setting the whole place on fire with the way that she reacted. It was like I had insulted her entire existence with a single suggestion. But wait, it gets better. Tara had us running around like headless chickens, catering to her every whim. From endless dress fittings to last-minute DIY projects, there was never a dull moment in the land of Tara's wedding madness. And don't even get me started on the wedding day itself. You think that she'd be a bundle of nerves, right? Nope, not Tara. She strutted around like she owned the place, barking orders left and right like she was the queen of the castle. Meanwhile, the rest of us were running around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to make sure everything went off without a hitch. But here's the kicker. Despite all the chaos and the drama, nobody said a word. Why? Because it was Tara's wedding, and in the eyes of everyone else, she could do no wrong. It was like she had this invisible shield of entitlement that protected her from any criticism or backlash. And let me tell you, it was infuriating. But hey, at the end of the day, she did manage to pull off a pretty spectacular wedding. I'll give her that. And despite all the craziness, there were moments of genuine joy and love that shone through. So I guess you could say that it was a classic case of love conquers all, even if it did come with a side of bridezilla antics. 7 months ago, I got engaged to the love of my life, Michael, 30 male. We actually met through mutual friends at a backyard barbecue of all places. There was something about his goofy smile and easygoing nature that instantly drew me in. We hit it off right away, bonding over our shared love of cheesy 80s movies and questionable dance moves. Fast forward a few months, and Michael decides to sweep me off my feet in the most romantic way possible, with a surprise proposal. Picture this. We're on a weekend getaway to a cozy cabin in the mountains, surrounded by towering pine trees and the soothing sound of a nearby stream. It was like something out of a fairy tale, I swear. So there we are, snuggled up by the fire, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories when suddenly, Michael gets down on one knee and pulls out this gorgeous ring. I swear, my heart stopped at that moment. He poured his heart out, professing his love for me in the most heartfelt speech I've ever heard. And of course, I said yes without a moment's hesitation. It was pure magic, let me tell you. Now onto the big reveal. I wanted to share the news with my parents in person. None of that phone call nonsense. So I decided to wait until our next family night, when we could all be together. We're sitting down to dinner, laughing and chatting away, when I suddenly pipe up and announce that I have something to share. I can still remember the look on my parents' faces when I showed them my sparkling engagement ring. There was disbelief, followed by pure joy and excitement. They were over the moon, showering me with hugs and congratulations. Even Tara, my ever-competitive sister, couldn't help but join in on the celebrations. It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, seeing how genuinely happy everyone was for me. Just when I thought I was basking in the glow of my happy news, my sister Tara had to go and steal the spotlight yet again. I mean, talk about bad timing. So there we were, reveling in the excitement of my engagement, when Tara decided to drop a news of her own. She announces that she and her husband have been trying to have a baby, and she's feeling pretty hopeful about the whole thing. Now don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled for her and all, but did she really have to make this announcement right after mine? It felt like she was trying to one-up me or steal the spotlight back, and let me tell you, it didn't sit too well with me. I remember feeling a mix of emotions at that moment. Frustration, disappointment, and yeah, maybe a bit of anger too. I mean, here I am, trying to share my joy with the family, and Tara swoops in with her own news, stealing the attention away from me once again. It felt like she was minimizing my moment, like my happiness wasn't as important as hers. But despite my simmering fury, I didn't let it show. I plastered on a smile and congratulated her, just like everyone else. I didn't want to create a scene or dampen the mood, especially not on what was supposed to be a joyous occasion. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling of being overshadowed, yet again, by my sister's need for attention. However, the next weekend, my sister called me and said that she had a few ideas for my bridesmaid dresses. Tara launches into this whole spiel about bridesmaid dresses and color schemes, and I'm sitting there like, wait, what? I haven't even asked her to be a bridesmaid yet, let alone discuss dresses and whatnot. It was like she'd already penciled herself into the bridal party without so much as a by your leave. So I gently but firmly told her, Tara, you're not going to be my bridesmaid. And let me tell you, she did not take it well. She started going off about how she assumed that she's a bridesmaid because, well, she's my sister. But here's the thing. Just because we share DNA doesn't automatically qualify her for a spot in my bridal party. I explained to her that while she's my sister and all, I have other friends who I'm closer to and who I want standing by my side on the big day. And let's be real here. She didn't exactly go out of her way to make me a bridesmaid at her wedding, now did she? It was like she expected me to just fall in line and play the dutiful sister, regardless of my own feelings. But oh no, I wasn't about to let her guilt trip me into something I didn't want. I stood my ground and told her straight up that just because she's my sister doesn't mean she gets a free pass to be in my bridal party. And you know what? That didn't sit too well with her. She started laying on the guilt trip thick, calling me an entitled brat and accusing me of sidelining her. I won't lie, her words stung a bit. I mean, nobody likes being called names by their own sister, right? But I refused to back down. I told her that being my sister does not entitle her to anything, and if she couldn't respect my decision, then maybe she didn't deserve to be a part of my wedding at all. And let me tell you, things got heated real fast. We went back and forth, arguing about who was right and who was wrong, until finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I hung up the phone, feeling frustrated and hurt by her reaction. It was like no matter what I said or did, she just couldn't see things from my perspective. So there I was, knee-deep in a wonderful world of wedding prep, and I thought, hey, why not bring Tara along for the ride? After all, she's my sister, and I wanted her to feel included in the whole process. So I started by asking her for her opinions on everything, from flowers to cakes to venue decorations. I figured the more involved she felt, the less likely she would be to cause any more drama. Plus, I genuinely value her input, so it was a win-win situation, right? But boy, was I in for a rude awakening. No matter what I did or said, Tara just couldn't seem to shake her sour mood. It was like she had a permanent rain cloud hovering over her head, raining on my wedding parade every chance she got. Take for example the way I went wedding dress shopping. Now this was supposed to be one of the most magical moments of my life, right up there with finding true love and saying yes to the proposal. I had my best friend Lisa and my mom by my side, ready to ooh and ah over every gown I tried on. But Tara, oh no, she had to be a Debbie Downer the whole time. Even when I stepped out in the dress of my dreams, glowing with happiness and excitement, she couldn't muster up a single nice thing to say. Instead of gushing over how beautiful I looked or how the dress was made for me, she just muttered something about not liking the style. Talk about a buzzkill. And let me tell you, it was a real punch in the gut. Here I was, trying to include my sister in one of the most important moments of my life, and all she could do was rain on my parade. It made me question whether she was really happy for me, or if she was just jealous or bitter about something. But you know what? I didn't let her sour mood dampen my spirits. I refused to let her negativity ruin such a special moment for me, so I brushed off her comments with a smile and focused on the love and support of my mom and Lisa. After all, their opinions were the ones that truly mattered to me. A few days later, I got a call from my mom, and she told me that she just found out that Tara is planning to wear her wedding dress to my wedding. Can you believe it? I was shocked to say the least. I mean, why on earth would she even think that's okay? It's like she's trying to steal the show on my big day, and I was not having it. So I asked Mom what in the world Tara was thinking, and her response, brace yourself. Tara thought I wouldn't mind because she's only worn it once before. Seriously? Talk about delusional. Mom tried to reason with her, and bless her heart, but Tara wouldn't budge. It was like she had this warped idea in her head that wearing her wedding dress to my wedding was perfectly acceptable. I mean, come on, who does that? Needless to say, I was furious. It felt like yet another attempt by Tara to overshadow me on my own wedding day, and I wasn't about to let her get away with it. I knew right then and there that I had to teach her a lesson, because clearly, talking to her wasn't going to do any good. I decided that if Tara wanted to steal the spotlight with her wedding dress, I could make sure it wasn't anything special. So I hatched a brilliant scheme to level the playing field. I called up my bridal party and laid down the law. I wanted them all to wear their wedding dresses to my wedding. Yep, you heard that right. Now you might be thinking, but wait, won't that take away from your special day? And normally you would be right. But here's the kicker. For those who weren't married, I got them each a gorgeous white gown of their choice. That's right. I turned the tables on Tara's little plan and made sure all the eyes would be on me, the blushing bride. The stage was set, my friends. It was like something out of a reality TV show, and I was the mastermind behind all the drama. I'll admit, part of me felt a little guilty for pulling such a stunt. But hey, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? So there we were, on the big day, with my bridal party all decked out in their wedding finery. And let me tell you, they looked stunning. Each and every one of them. It was like a parade of wedding dresses, with me leading the charge in my own show-stopping gown. But the real kicker, Tara's face when she realized what I'd done. Oh, it was priceless. You could practically see the steam coming out of her ears as she realized her plan had been foiled. And let me tell you, I reveled in every moment of it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that a bit petty? And yeah, maybe it was. But you have to understand, this wasn't just about a dress or stealing the spotlight. This was about standing up for myself and refusing to let my sister's selfish antics ruin my special day. However, once the ceremony was over and we were taking some pictures before heading to the reception, Tara came to me and asked me why didn't I tell her that the bridal party was going to wear wedding dresses. And I'm just like, because I didn't want you to find another way to steal my thunder on my wedding day. Yeah, I went there. And let me tell you, Tara did not take it well. She starts throwing a fit right then and there, like a toddler who's been denied their favorite toy. But before things can escalate any further, Karma decides to make an appearance in the most unexpected way. One of my bridesmaids takes a misstep and ends up tumbling down. And wouldn't you know it, Tara goes down right along with her. It was like something out of a slapstick comedy, I swear. And to top it all off, Tara's precious dress ends up in the mud, getting all dirty and ruined in the process. Now you would think Tara would see the humor in the situation, right? Wrong. Instead, she's fuming, like a volcano about to erupt. She starts laying into my poor friend, blaming her for the whole mess. And let me tell you, I wasn't about to let her get away with that. So I step in and tell Tara to back off, reminding her that accidents happen and it's not fair to take it out on my friends. But Tara's having none of it. She's adamant that she won't be in the photos if she has to stay in that dirty dress. Well, guess what? I'm not about to let a little mud ruin my wedding photos. So I give her an ultimatum. Either she stays in the dirty dress or she goes back home, changes and comes back in something clean. And you know what? She chooses to stay in the dirty dress, much to my dismay. But hey, at least I stood my ground and didn't let her bully me into letting her ruin my wedding photos. Despite her initial reluctance, Tara eventually caved and agreed to go change into something less mud-covered. And while she was off doing that, I seized the moment to snap a photo with my brave bridesmaid who ended up sacrificing her dress for the greater good. It was a moment of pure solidarity and sisterhood, captured forever in that one perfect shot. And let me tell you, I treasure that photo more than anything else from my wedding day. By the time Tara got back, all fresh and clean, the wedding photos were already wrapped up, and we were knee-deep in dancing and celebrating. Meanwhile, Tara just sat in the corner, sulking like a petulant child who didn't get her way. It was almost comical, really, seeing her pout while everyone else was having the time of their lives. However, my mom came up to me and told her that I went a little overboard with ruining her wedding dress. Even I felt a little bad because her dress was torn a bit. So, am I the a-hole for doing this? Should I have taken a different route? A few days later, Tara called me up, and let me tell you, she was not a happy camper. She went off on me, calling me every name in the book, and accusing me of being a heartless jerk who deliberately ruined her wedding dress. Can you believe it? Talk about drama. But you know what? I wasn't about to let her guilt trip me into paying for her dress repairs. Oh no, not this time. So I calmly reminded her that maybe she shouldn't have worn her wedding dress to my wedding in the first place if she was so worried about it getting ruined. It was like a light bulb went off in her head, but instead of seeing reason, she just got even angrier. She had the audacity to demand that I pay her to get the dress fixed and cleaned. Can you believe the nerve of this woman? But let me tell you, I wasn't about to be taken for a ride. I flat out refused, told her that she was out of her mind if she thought that I was footing the bill for her own poor choices, and promptly hung up the phone. And you know what? That was the last I heard from her in a while. Michael and I packed our bags and headed off on our honeymoon, leaving all that drama and chaos behind. And let me tell you, it was the best decision we ever made. I didn't bother picking up any calls from Tara while we were away. I mean, who needs that kind of negativity on their honeymoon, right? We were too busy sipping cocktails on the beach and enjoying each other's company to worry about petty family squabbles. I did have a conversation with my mother where she asked me to just apologize. Mom starts off by gently suggesting that maybe it's time to bury the hatchet and apologize to Tara. You know, let bygones be bygones and all that. But I wasn't having it. Oh no, not this time. I poured my heart out to her, laid it all out on the line, and told her exactly why I wasn't willing to let this whole mess slide. I told her how Tara's constant attempts to overshadow me had been eating away at me for years, how it felt like I was constantly playing second fiddle to her. And you know what? Mom listened, really listened. As I poured out all my frustrations and grievances, I told her how I felt like she and Dad had turned a blind eye to Tara's behavior for far too long, how they were just as much to blame for this whole mess as Tara was. It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Finally getting to air out all my grievances and frustrations. And you know what? Mom listened. Really listened. And for the first time, I felt like she truly understood where I was coming from. But here's the thing. Even though I poured my heart out to her, even though I laid it all out on the line and told her exactly how I felt, I still couldn't bring myself to apologize to Tara. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't the one in the wrong here. So after our heart-to-heart, I made the difficult decision to stop picking up calls from Mom too. It wasn't easy, cutting ties with family, but I knew it was the right thing to do for my own sanity and happiness. And you know what? It was like a breath of fresh air, finally being able to let go of all the drama and chaos that had been weighing me down for so long. Michael and I had a blast on our honeymoon, making memories and enjoying each other's company without any unnecessary family drama to ruin the mood. Hey everyone, it's been a month since my last update, but buckle up because I've got some juicy gossip for you. So Michael and I had the time of our lives on our honeymoon, soaking up the sun and sipping cocktails on the beach. But let me tell you, the real drama started when we got home. So picture this, Michael and I stroll into my parents' house for a cozy family night, ready to catch up with everyone after our whirlwind honeymoon. But as soon as we walk through the door, I can feel the tension in the air. Tara's there, of course, sitting in the corner like a dark cloud, and she's giving me the cold shoulder like nobody's business. But you know what they say about boiling pots and lids? Yeah, she couldn't keep quiet for long. Out of nowhere, she tells me that I owe her money and that if I don't cough it up, she's gonna take me to court. Can you believe it? I was gobsmacked to say the least. But I wasn't about to let her rain on my parade. Not again. So I straight up told her that she'd lost her marbles and that I wasn't gonna let her ruin my night with her drama. I mean, who does she think she is, coming at me like that in my own parents' house? I laid down the law, told her to contact me when she was ready to apologize, and then I hightailed it out of there, Michael in tow. And let me tell you, it felt like the weight of the world had been lifted on my shoulders. When I got back, my mom called me and told me that they had paid for fixing and cleaning the dress. I was fuming, let me tell you. I mean, why on earth would they do that without even consulting me first? It felt like a slap in the face, like they were choosing Tara's side over mine, yet again. And let me tell you, I was not about to let that slide. So I laid into my mom and told her exactly how I felt about the whole situation. I mean, come on, why should I have to foot the bill for Tara's mistakes? It's not like I asked her to wear her wedding dress to my wedding in the first place. But you know what my mom said? She said that they didn't want this little squabble to ruin our family nights. Can you believe the nerve? It's like she's completely blind to Tara's entitled behavior and thinks we should all just sweep it under the rug and pretend like nothing happened. Well, I wasn't about to let her off the hook that easily. I told her straight up that unless Tara apologizes for her little stunt, I'm not interested in having any kind of relationship with her. Yeah, maybe it seems a bit childish at this point, but you know what? I've had enough. I mean, can you blame me? After years of putting up with Tara's entitled behavior, enough is enough. It's like she's always got to be the center of attention, always got to have things her way, and I'm just supposed to sit back and take it? I don't think so. You can call me petty if you want, but I'm not backing down on this one. Tara needs to own up to her mistakes and apologize, plain and simple. And until she does, I'm not interested in having anything to do with her, or anyone else who thinks her behavior is acceptable. Hi guys, this is going to be my last update. About a week after our last fight, my sister finally called me up yesterday to apologize. And let me tell you, it was about time. But here's the thing. I could tell from the get-go that she wasn't exactly sincere about it. It was like she was just going through the motions because our parents forced her to do it. I decided to be the bigger person and accept her apology anyway. I mean, life's too short to hold grudges, right? So I told her that it was all good and that I was willing to let bygones be bygones. But just because I accepted her apology doesn't mean that I'm gonna let her off the hook that easily. Oh no, not this time. I finally reached my breaking point with her entitled behavior, and I'm not about to let her get away with it anymore. From now on, I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on her antics, and you better believe I won't hesitate to call her out on her BS. It's like they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, Tara's had her fair share of chances, and now it's time for me to put my foot down once and for all. I just wanted to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for all your suggestions and kind words throughout this whole ordeal. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure, but your support has meant the world to me. That was it for today's story. Thank you very much for listening. Smash that like button for me and subscribe for more stories. Thanks again. We'll be seeing you in the next one.